Once they are on the interview, they can excel there. But just kind of help us on what maybe we can still do to kind of help them to get on the interview. So maybe if you can share some insights in this area, that will be really gold to us. Maybe just what we see currently, most companies are strictly looking firstly for certificate. So that you need to have the SAP Global certificates in order just to let you go on the interview. But it's not kind of that once you have a certificate, you will get the job. Then you need to prove that you understand what you are doing. So what we do, we help people really understand, because they do real programming in ABAP Academy. They do the coding the projects and stuff like that, so that once they get on the interview, they are able to prove like because they know what they're doing. However, the main issue for us, or kind of the still big challenge, is to help people get to the interview. Once they are on the interview, they can excel there. But just kind of help us on what maybe we can still do to kind of help them to get on the interview. And one kind of last thing is that the biggest obstacle is because getting the certificate costs in India about $5,000. And for many people, this is kind of the showstopper. So this is what we are kind of trying to still solve. It's kind of the still ongoing process for us. So maybe if you can share some insights in this area, that will be really gold to us.
Yeah, sure. So the one thing which I see different from other locations is what I see is in Europe and other locations, right? I mean, and even we have their operations across Europe. I mean, my current company, they are a manufacturing sector, so they have their global operations in Europe and Germany and in US and other locations. So what I see is they recruit interns for there. Only it happens in US and also in Europe. They have a particular law that makes them do it actually. So in India, whereas in India, what happens is SAP is something which is considered to be, I'll clearly mention it's like a costly one, because it's not available open source. So just like Java or any other .NET or any other tool, it's not available open source, and you have to spend a lot of money in learning it. So that makes the first thing just for the number of students for a fresher to get into SAP world, I would say. So in my case, fortunately, I was trained in ABAP. So I was a guy who was doing mechanical engineering during my engineering. So SAP world is totally new to me. So, but fortunately for me, it was to train me in SAP ABAP, and then I was put into real-time projects. But in many cases, that doesn't happen. So whenever a company or a manufacturing sector are most of the companies in India who uses SAP, as you right know. And manufacturing is one of the area where the mass recruitment. But when it comes to manufacturing sector, what happens is they are always looking for an experienced guy. So the option we have is when it happens for service companies like the software service companies like Infosys, Accenture, TCS, and CTS, it's more of they go on the offshore, and they go on interviews only to colleges and all. So the other recruitment for the non-freshers, it's quite difficult for them to get through it. So that is the main area I would say. And even in service company, what happens is, even if the client is asking for a 2 years or 3 years of experience guy, there is a middleman who is able to negotiate and able to get a fresher guy into that role, because they have already proved that. But that is not the case for a fresher, because he has to prove himself, and there is no one who is going to do the talking for him. So that makes it probably difficult for the freshers in India to get a job, to land a job in SAP world. And moreover, like rightly mentioned, SAP certification for ABAP certification cost you around $5,000. So that's around 40,000 rupees in India. That's quite a sum of money that a fresher can make in a complete month, or about a complete month, in a decent job. So that is a huge money. That is why a lot of people are hesitant in investing in it. And even if the people are able to do it, there are very few companies who are recruiting freshers for in SAP world. So and even if that happens, they put them in a different role, like security roles and basis role, where they require, there will be having a senior or someone who can guide them. And also security roles, as you know, it's not like an application language where you have to think a lot about it. So it's not about a particular structures are already available that they have to go. It's like a repetitive task in most of the areas, because they have a senior in place already. So they have to put the roles and all. So that is why even in my company, I've seen that for freshers, when it comes to SAP, it will be mostly security guys and basis guys, and ABAP is always in the last option now for them. So that is the main reason I would say. And how can we improve something like if the certification has a certain amount of, it comes with the last cost. It comes with the cost is too much, but probably if your academy can give a certification, something in the internal certification kind of stuff that could be, put up in LinkedIn or somewhere, that makes the recruiters turn back and say, hey guys, this guy has completed from this academy, and I know this academy, and that has produced a large number of results. That can bring in a shift in this process probably. So if there is a post-completion certification, and if they are able to publish it in LinkedIn, just like how Udemy is doing, and like any other open SAP course, they're able to do it. If we could build that brand, that would be goal for us. So that obviously will take some amount of time, I'd say, but it's definitely possible. It's always reachable, I'd say. It's difficult, but I don't see it's 0% or no chance. So we still have the options to do it. Yeah. So we have to work towards that.
Mm-hmm. So maybe just let me kind of mention what we do. So and if you think still if we can do something, because as I mentioned, our main focus is to help people become independent. So that they know what they are doing. We don't want them to memorize like what is field symbol, what is basically anything like that. We know that if somebody asks them what is field symbol and what is good for, they know what they are talking about because they have already implemented the whole things about these things. Okay, so we are mainly focusing on getting real skills. Then what we do, like we also provide a certificate just because of the reason that you have just mentioned, because some companies are looking for certificates so that they can kind of we can help them get into get them opening doors to get on the interview so that they can prove there. What we are also doing, we are kind of third thing is that kind of we are helping people to hack the interview kind of process in the way, or kind of we are hacking them, hacking the way of kind of getting them on the interview in the way that usually, as you mentioned as well, companies are looking for guys who have, let's say, 2+ years of experience, and they call them juniors as well. So what we do, we help them to go through the project. So at the end, they are at the very once they graduate, they get the guys are getting the projects, which is based on the real paid project. So they are able to go to the whole project lifecycle, starting from getting the specification. They are able to come up with their own solution. They are able to implement the whole thing, test it properly, and deliver it to customer. And they are also kind of presenting the solution to the customer. In that case, we play the role of customer. So kind of they are confident in what they do. So at the end, and what did I want to say by so it's kind of so they just give you a picture on what kind of skills they really get. So what we also so this is kind of the way on how we can hack the 2 years of coding experience, because like this project was done by me, who was having like about 2 years of coding experience. So kind of this is how we are able to get people going 3 months from the to the coaching program, getting them like kind of 2 years of coding experience already. And another way on how we try to help people get on the interview is to help them to make sure that they can be visible from companies, that they are also proactive somehow. So they can also kind of build or create a blog post on our website, so that they can be visible from other companies that they are already active in this area. So they are kind of no newbies, like they don't know what to do. They are really showing that they have really strong interest and they know what they are talking about. So do you think if this is kind of something that can help, or what we can do, maybe something in addition to still help people more, or to make it more easy for people to get kind of put the food in front in the door?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'd say so. ABAP, as you mentioned, it's one of the oldest language. I mean, it has been there for almost 20 plus years now. So if they have a certain amount of niche skills, something like ABAP plus ORAT or something, which it's because ABAP. If they're able to learn ABAP in 3 months or something, ORAT, it will be easy for them because it's all about going to a GW and calling the transaction and connecting it and exposing the data. So what happens is for a 1 or 2 year experience now, there won't be a guy who has ABAP plus ORAT experience, because once they start working on it only, probably they could go into the ORAT area. But since you have been giving real-time projects and they're already been working on all the mock projects from your academy itself, so they're already project ready. So even if you could brush up their skills on something like ORAT or like an introduction section or something, if they could put that in the resume and they could crack the interview, it will be gold for them, because there is no guy who has 1 or 2 years experience who will have ABAP plus ORAT. That is very limited, I'd say, because if you train a guy in SAP UI5 who has 1 year of experience, company is ready to interview him, and they're able to recruit him, because UI5 is the next one, which is already in charge, and everyone is looking for UI5 consultants. So it's all about fitting the demand, right? So ABAP, they expect ABAP can be done by anyone who has already been trained in that. So put that niche skill to them, plus ORAT or something which will add the niche skill to them, which helps them identify, okay, see, this guy is, because when the company start collecting the resumes now, because even I have been in the process, so we could see 1 to 3 years, 1 to 2 years, and all ABAP. So we couldn't, then we get into the educational area and also the projects he has worked in. Like you mentioned, the projects is one of the area which they could go and detail, and also that could be put up in LinkedIn profile. They could build a decent LinkedIn profile also. That really helps actually. So this decent LinkedIn profile plus, So what are the projects which they complete? Probably if you could create a link for it and tag it to the LinkedIn account, that could be a goal. And also try to put add some niche skills like ORAT, anything. It can be work for anything, niche skills, anything like the OOPS console, anything. ABAP plus something. That's what the companies are expecting here probably.
I see 2 things that I have seen. Like one kind of notice that I forgot to tell, that we are also doing once people graduate, we are helping them to build the LinkedIn profiles as well. Basically, this is the kind of the major thing that helps them to really kind of be visible for companies. So yeah, definitely, I forgot about this one. But one important thing that you have mentioned is about UI5. So you say if so currently within India, companies who see people who have 1+ year of UI5 experience, like they are immediately interested. It's interesting for them, right? And right now, I'm not sure if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry. Yeah, I can hear you. You were saying something about companies are looking for UI5 and then it stops. Sorry.
This is what you have mentioned. This is what I have heard. So I just want to really make sure that I understood correctly. Is it right?
Yeah. Plus ABAP plus something, anything. It can be Wi-Fi, it can be OData, it can be workflow, anything. Something like niche skill which is in demand currently in the market. So that gives them an extra mile to go. Yeah, and also when a student or when someone joins an organization, academy for coaching, because in India contract role is something seen as quite different, because everyone wants to get in a permanent position here. Unlike in the Western countries, I know people would love for contract roles, right? But here in India, most of the people will be looking for permanent roles. Probably that might also be it, because permanent roles are very few and contract roles are wide open. So that also shift, because we probably could educate them, it's all equal, and probably in another, again, the experience in contract, they can move into a permanent role from there itself. So probably could educate them on that area. It's not about it doesn't gain you confidence, which doesn't give you the same amount of experience. So contract, probably you could educate them in such a way that to take the contract roles are open. A lot of companies have contract roles open for them. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Like one goal that I have kind of picked up from this call is that to hear that having ABAP plus, let's say, UI5 OData skills is something that is kind of really interesting for companies to see in these days. This is something that I didn't kind of see right now in India's kind of profile. So this is kind of really something very gold information for me, because this is definitely something that we can help people get these skills already, because we have these kind of materials already. So yeah, so this is something that yeah, thank you very much. This is something that I think that people in India will be really glad to hear, that this is something that kind of opens them doors for getting into our position. Question, maybe I don't know if you can answer this question, but hypothetically, or kind of just give us a idea, like percentage wise, like what do you think, like if people are going through this our coaching program that I've mentioned to you, like what kind of skills they already can get, plus they will have UI5 OData skills, kind of what is the chance to getting a job, or at least getting on the job interview, like so I don't know, like percentage wise, do you kind of have some idea?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when your profile is just a backend developer, and if it makes a shift to the full stack developer, because I have been seeing that, because before 4 or 3 years back, no, I was a backend developer with only ABAP plus OData or something. I was not doing UI5. So once I made a shift in the UI5, the number of calls I'm getting has considerably increased. Probably I was getting 1 call per day when they make my profile open earlier. Now I would say it's like 3-4 calls. So it has exponentially increased. Moreover, because of the experience plus the 3 years, it adds up. So obviously, for freshers also it should be the same. And what you can do is, I mean, even in LinkedIn, if you see ABAP plus OData plus anything for a fresher, it will be good, because you won't see such a profile in a fresher. And the company is also trying to make the senior guys learn the UEFI technology and go into that. So if they can have someone who's already into UEFI and already into OData, they could grab them and probably they could train them. And about the percentage, I could see at least 20 to 30% increase in their profile view. More than 20 to 30 definitely, because I have seen that. I have personally observed that in my case. So if that could happen, because as you take Fiori, it's for me, even when I put it 1 year, I was getting more calls earlier than, because Fiori is literally a new technology that was done in 2013, right? It's like 7 or 6 years back. So it's pretty new to the world. So, and most of the companies are yet to get into it. Most of the companies, I'd say. So that opens up the option for them. So because what I see in the market now is either they will be UI5 developer or ABAP developer plus OData. It's not like full stack. So if you could have someone who's a junior who can have that, it will be good for the company.
Okay, so junior full stack developer is something like really interesting for companies to see.
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you very much. This is like really gold. So if I will share that with my guys, so definitely based on today's call, like, we will be able to shape our strategy so how we can help people specifically in India to getting even more exposure, to getting even more higher kind of success rate with this. So perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
One more question that comes to mind, actually two. One kind of thing, what do you think? Because usually when people see, when companies see, okay, you were in an academy for 3 months, for let's say 4 months within an academy, how can you prove us, or how can you say that you have 2+ or kind of 2 years, let's say 2 years of coding experience, or kind of 2 years of coding experience? Like, it sounds unbelievable for companies when they see it for the first time. Maybe because you said that you're also sometimes in charge of getting people in company, if I understood correctly. What can potentially for you, what can be more helpful to kind of understand, let's say, if you will be seeing people going through, let's say, 4 months of ABAP Academy training program and proving or saying that I have such skills, kind of, do you know where I'm heading this question? So can at least, okay, so how can we can prove you from first seeing that this is something that is like really true?
So if in India, if they are the only what do you call, the drawback which they're looking for is they should be having 1 year of already project experience in something. Probably you could come up with something like, because you are already doing a lot of mark projects, so it's more like they could have worked. It's all real-time projects, and probably you can say that if you have a freelancing or something like that, that wide opens a lot of options. But I don't believe you have been doing it, right? I mean, you don't do freelancing work for the team.
No, we do academy. Yeah.
Academy, yeah. Okay.
We teach people, yeah.
Okay, I got it. So, because what I see in a fresher is normally when he comes from 6 years, 7 years, 6 months of training and all. So what we see is he's not project ready. So we will go through everything again, because from my experience, I have seen candidates who have gone through the training and who has written a code which is directly updating Mara. So that could be, disasters for the system, right? So because we have seen that. So what we do is we put them in the monitor section almost for 2 or 3 months in the training, and we review every part of their code initially before we hand over the sandbox or the development client to them. So, but if they are already project ready, and if most of the because the kind of interview I'll be doing normally is I won't ask any theoretical question. It's something like give them a scenario, and I will ask them how this could be accomplished. For example, it could be something like, okay, I have a report program wherein you have it could be any database, okay? It could be HANA, it could be Oracle, anything. So you have a particular field called material. So when the user types in it, it should show the search option just like how it shows in the Google. It should give them not like F4 help. So they keep on typing it, should be there. This is kind of a question which will test the candidate, because only if you have worked on some kind of if he has a working experience, right, then only you'll be able to answer this question. It doesn't come sort of reading through tutorials or watching video or something like that, because this is a real-time project. So if he could answer it, it could be gold for us, because with 6 months of training, we could hire a candidate with a nominal package, which when we go for an experienced candidate, we'll be looking for more. So it will be gold for the company too. So the main thing will be ask the candidates, probably the training that they educate them. Contract role is not bad. Because once they are in a contract role for almost 1 year or something, they can get in a permanent role. There is an option of that. Because in India, it's a taboo, I'd say. I had to mention that. But seniors, we agree. We know how the world works, right? Because in Western countries, a contract role is the one most preferred, I believe, more than the permanent roles. So, but in India, it's still that. It's like it's a taboo, I'd say, because contract role is something. Because if you call a candidate who is already doing contract role, hey guy, I have a permanent position, he'll be immediately ready. You won't ask the company name, you won't ask the package, he'll be ready for it. So that's how the urge to get in the permanent role is, because that covers a lot of the stuff.
It's great to hear. It's great to hear. Yeah, because that you are doing it this way. That you are not asking questions theoretical questions. Like you are really kind of making sure that they can prove you that they have worked on something.
Yeah. Because and also I give a scenario, something like, okay, I have something like a validation has to be done. For example, there is a material field which the user is going to. I should see the error message here. That should be of so and so character. So how are we going to deal with it? So something like it goes on a sequence. So I start from the data dictionary, then I get into table maintenance mode, then I get into programs and all. So I rate the candidate based on that. So if they could give some insight, because what I'm very sure if you are able to give them the project experience, they'll be able to answer all these questions. That will be a cakewalk for them. So these are all, because 1 or 2 experience, we'll do what we are looking at. Under our guidance, they should be able to work. That's what we make sure, right? So so probably that is a question probably I've been asking for, and I have also gone through that. So most of the product companies definitely will look for this. And if it's a service company which has a larger number of resources and they could afford bench strength, probably they could go for a different kind of interview, because they can afford people to sit on bench and they can get the client from them. But for a product company, because of being in a product company, I definitely say they are always looking for a real-time projects and how they have worked on it.
Perfect. Honestly, you are the first guy that I hear in India when I'm talking about with people like that is kind of doing the interview this way. Like I have kind of, and mostly I have experienced that companies are the interviewees are interviewers are asking about theoretical questions, like let's say, what is LUW, what is I don't know, internal table, what is field symbol, and stuff like that. So that's great to hear.
No. What I mean to mention is, even in our case, it is 70%. That's what I mentioned. If you go to a service company, just like Cognizant, Infosys, Accenture, name it, any Indian company or MNC company, they Polaris, any company. So there, the kind of interview will be something different, because what happens is the interview will be one person, and the guy may or might not join in the same team. His full-time work will be recruitment probably. There are cases like that. But in my case, he's going to be part of the team. So I have to make sure I get a quality candidate, and that makes my work easy for me.
That's perfect.
So product company always looks for that kind of guy.
Okay, then the second question that I had on my mind is, let's say if we would be let's say another Indian guy would be graduating from our coaching program. Are you, as a company, open to hire new juniors that I was just describing to you? Let's say guys who have such kind of juniors who have such kind of experiences already. Are you, as a company, open to hiring new juniors, or how?
Yeah, definitely. They will be looking for. The one point I missed to mention, which makes a great impact, is here we have a system called. See, for example, if a guy graduates in 2020 June batch, okay. And he comes to your academy probably by the start of 2021 January, and he completes in another 6 months or so. If he's able to fortunately do it, he's fine. But if someone who's already been 2020 passed out, and he's almost 2 years, and he didn't know where to go, he has gone through a lot of pains and all, he's into a different experience, he is working with Java and something else, then what happens is service companies will ask for candidates who are immediate passed outs. That means, if for example, if the interview happens this December, this April, like in another 2 months, what they are looking for is, they'll be looking for candidates who completed their graduation by 90. At the max, they'll go up to 18.
Okay.
So if they don't have that, then they can't get us a freshman there. That is where the main pain point is. So if he is a college student and he completes his education, within 1 or 2 years able to complete your course, then he's fine. He can get a job easily. But if someone has worked in a different area, something like a Java developer or .NET developer who's almost 3 or 4 years of experience, and now then again he's coming into SAP, and if he is applying for a fresher job, then it makes him a limited chance, because service companies always look for guys who was recently completed. So they see them as a scalable guys. Mm-hmm. The lesser the age, they see them, they are not scalable. That's how the prejudice does that, like that. It's not like I agree to it, but that's what happens here.
That's how it is. So if you say 2, 3, 4 years, because there are people in ABAP Academy that are having, let's say, 2, 3 years of Java experience, and they want to shift into SAP. Like, they are the guys who still are like in 20s. So still they are scalable guys. Are those guys still kind of like, those are the guys who companies are not usually thinking about them to get in the job, or they are still somehow kind of open because they already have coding skills in different coding language, so they are still in programming thinking, plus they have these skills that I was just describing. So are they still disqualified, or they can somehow move forward?
I got your question completely, and thanks for it. So what I have seen is, even in my, when I was working, so if he's, because of Java and JavaScript experience, they'll be easily able to grab into the area of UI5, right? So if he has the niche skills or something, ABAP plus that UI5 in that area, then that makes him employable for the company.
Okay, I see. So kind of, if they have kind of prior experience that can potentially fit somehow to already existing technology, let's say JavaScript, it's no-brainer for UI5.
Yeah, definitely. So it's like, you can split like 2 options. I can give you, it's more like in a detail where I'll say, if he's a fresher and if he's a college passed out, he's looking for a job and he's completely new to ABAP, and he hasn't got his first job at all, he's fine. With ABAP, he can survive. He can go to interviews, he can easily clear it, he can join as a fresher. But being an experienced guy, who has already 2 or 3 years experience into different worlds, then it makes him little difficult. Probably that is where this niche skills comes into the picture. UI5, or for example, if it's a .NET or something who's already know how to use the API services, probably you could make them the CPI consultant, like the cloud platform integration, because that happens with the APIs, right? And they will be already been aware of it. So probably that niche skills in addition to that makes them employable more.
Okay, so kind of to come up with a strategy. So let's say if guys who are Java guys want to become ABAP developers, so they need to find a workaround on how to get there. So firstly, they need to kind of find the complementary technology that they can somehow get a job there and internally move to later to
the position. That will be the first option. Yeah, that will be the first option. If they're able to do it, it's perfectly fine, because most of the service companies give an option for internal transfers and internal switch of their career. So most of the service, like I have seen that happen in CTS, Cognizant, Infosys, Accenture, many of the Tata Consulting Service, TCS and all. But for product, it's difficult, but for service company, it happens. But if it's a fresher, and then his options are wide open, I'd say, because a lot of service companies know they do mass recruitment of these freshers. So if he's trained in ABAP, it's gold for them, because we won't find an ABAP developer who's already has project experience as a fresher.
Yeah.
So it's all depends.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mario. This was really call full of really valuable information for us. So basically, at the end, we can start helping people in India even more effectively, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. And thanks, Ladislav. I mean, probably I'll be looking for your communication in the coming days. Probably something in your hoops or anything. Probably and if there is anything also, just keep us posted and I'll take for it.